Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a member of Congress who has been a small business owner, my number one concern is how this impacts small businesses across the country, because 99% of employers in the United States and firms are small businesses. This regulation makes it much harder for those employers to help their employees save for retirement because it has increased compliance costs. It also will create restrictions to what they have available to them. So what's even more troubling to me, which Mr. Silvers alludes to, this deception and coercion into trying to convince people to throw their money down the tube, is that this regulation even exempts the larger employers and larger employer plans, which is where I would think that would have more of a tendency to happen rather than the small businesses that we're really restricting. This regulation doesn't even address those large employer plans. It seems as though the administration thinks that large corporations can make good financial decisions, but that small employers and employees can't. Ms. Owen, you're an employer, and I know that today it appears that the government can make better decisions about your employees' retirements than they can, but I want you to talk specifically about how this hurts your business and how it hurts your employees.
Well, it definitely hurts my employees because having access to the advice of our financial person even encourages them to start saving for retirement. They're 25 years old. They don't foresee that at some point in their life they are going to want to retire. They're living for the moment, more or less. And just having him come in, which he does on a regular basis, when our new people that have been hired are eligible, just to educate them on the benefits of saving for retirement is the first step. But besides that, it hurts me as a small business owner because I'm competing against, major corporations, major hotels, major resort spas for employees, and they of course do have deep enough pockets to have retirement plans. So I need to be able to offer something to compete with them so that I can hire the same quality people and stay in business and be successful.
What's interesting to me is that as a small employer, you have skin in the game.
Absolutely.
It's your money.
Absolutely.
So you care that it's successful and actually a benefit to your employees because you want them to stay, and it's your money that
Right.
you've got involved as well. When the government makes decisions and rules and regulations, they're using other people's money. It's bureaucrats deciding they know better than you do, and it's not even their money that they're playing around with. They're just saying that you don't know how to manage your money correctly and help your employees be successful, which bothers me. Mr. Campbell, you've written about how this rule will eliminate some of the plans that are the most popular with small businesses. Could you speak to that a little bit? And I want to know from you specifically, do you think this regulation specifically helps and favors larger businesses?
Well, I think you're very correct to point out the problem with the large plan carve-out that the department provided. It said that plans with more than 100 participants or more than 100 million in assets could continue to receive advice of their choosing from whichever types of providers they felt were appropriate, but it denies that same ability to small businesses and to individuals. Therefore treating every IRA owner alike, no matter how different their circumstance might be. And in essence, the department said that this size was a proxy for financial sophistication, which I think makes no sense on the face of it. But in terms of the effect on small business, yes, I recently wrote a report where we discussed how this proposal would create concerns, as you just described, for small businesses making decisions and increased costs, and what effect that would have on the availability of advice, particularly looking also at some of the IRA-based employer-provided plans like SEPs and simple IRAs, and how this would affect those. There's actually some ambiguity, I think, as to what the rule would actually do for some of those plans, and that's something that comments have sought clarification on from the department. But I think it's very clear that advisors will have to take a number of steps that will be expensive, that will be costly, that will change their legal liability risk, that will change the kind of insurance they have to purchase. All of those costs ultimately get passed on to the end consumer, which is the plan participants and the small business owners.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, that's my biggest concern about this regulation, is that it specifically is targeted at small businesses. It's going to drive up costs and keep employees from being able to invest in their future while creating a carve-out for large employers and giving them special treatment. And that's exactly the opposite thing that should be happening today. I yield back.
Thank you. Mr. Doggett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is